Hello, this is Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and I've been experimenting around with sunshades for the Skycontroller 2. Let me pick one up here and show you what I'm talking about. The Skycontroller 2 and the tablet or smartphone holder that goes on there. And so recently I figured out that instead of having one that is so tall that it flops around, and by the way, I'll put a link to the video that I put together on how to keep it from flopping around and wobbling. I came up with this one, which I'll have a picture of me using it just the other day. It's a little shorter, as you can probably tell by looking at it, and it works just fine. Especially this one here works great. It keeps the sun away from the tablet that I'm using, but like I said, it's kind of clumsy. This one here works pretty good. Probably works better on cloudy days than sunny days, but I was using it in the bright sunlight, as you'll see in the video that I put on, that I put up. So I think what I'll do is I'll show you how to make one of these smaller ones, and there's a little bit of a change here. If you notice, this has got tapered sides and this one doesn't, so I'll show you how to do that. The purpose of this video is to show you how to make one that works for you. So like I have an 8-inch tablet. Well, you can do the same thing for a cell phone or a 7-inch tablet or whatever size you're using, and just follow the same principles, not exactly the same measurements, okay? So we're going to get started, and what I do is we'll put this over here, out of the way I hope, and I go to Walmart and I buy a piece of poster board that is 28 by 22 inches, and the larger one took up the whole poster board, but the smaller one you only have to use half the poster board, so you could actually end up making two and give one to a friend if you have any friends. So that's the key right there. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut this one in half, and then we'll get started on our project. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut along the solid line. And I'll fast forward all the cuts so that you don't have to watch me go through all of this. By the way, I'll just give you a little tip. When you're cutting anything, if you get it started, and keep your eye on the point. Keep the point on the line rather than looking down where you're cutting. And that way you'll get a much straighter cut. Okay, so I've got an 8-inch Samsung Tab A tablet, so that's the measurements I'll be using for this, but whatever size you have, you can still do the same thing. And if you have to use a whole piece in order to get enough shade on the side because you got a bigger tablet, just do this from the whole piece starting at the end, and that'll work for you. Okay, so first thing we have to do is we have to figure out where the center of everything is, and the last time I did this I got some people confused, so we'll just kind of rough it out here. It's 22 inches across, so half of that is 11. And my tablet is 8 1/4 inches. Half of that, I think it's 8 1/4. Yeah, and half of that is 4 1/8. All right, now then, I'm gonna start using my smaller ruler. We'll get that out of the way here. So what we got to do is come in from the side. That would be 6 7/8. So we're going to come clear up here and go 6 7/8 and make a mark. And I think this is going to be 6 7/8 also. Pretty close to 6, and that's actually 6 3/4, but it really doesn't matter. So we're going to come up here, and we're going to go 6 and somewhere between 6 7/8 and 6 3/4. And then we'll make some long lines. All right, so that one came out okay. All right, so there's the width. We'll double check, make sure that's going to fit in there, and it does. Okay. Now then, I've got. I'll show you the angle here. You notice how this tapers back, and this is where the tablet's going to go, but it tapers. And the reason for that is, and I'll put a little diagram, the first one I made, it didn't taper. So when I put it all together, I looked in there, and all I saw was a reflection of my face. Okay, so I decided, well, if I make this tapered, then my eyeball will come down here, and the reflection that I will see is going to be this dark stuff, and that's what I want. I want dark. So so that's why that's got to be tapered. So what we do in order to do that is, oh, let me unfold it. That way, make it easier to see. We'll move all this over here and lay this down. In order to get that taper, we cut at an angle here, okay? And that angle is, I think that's about 1 1/4 inches. Actually 1 1/2. So that's a little bit of more of an angle, I think, than I needed. So I think I'll make this one 1 1/4, and we'll go with that. See how it works. So I'll come up. 1 1/4 inches there. 1 1/4 inches there. And then I'll just make this at an angle here. And you do the same thing, about 1 inch or 1 1/4 inches. Now, if you're doing it for a cell phone and it's smaller, don't come up so far. Come up about half that much. But you want it to be at an angle so you don't see your face in the reflection. And probably any angle would work. Okay, so we will put this across here like this. And we're going to cut this part out. And then these will be the sides that flip up. So, now, how tall or how wide is, I'm sorry, what is the depth of my tablet? So we'll just put there like that's on the edge, and I'm just going to make a line here, okay? And we'll see if that works. So that should be 5, not quite 5 1/2. So, well, we'll just make it 5 1/2. So there's that one, and that one. We'll come straight across there. Like so. Okay, so that's where the tablet is going to lay. Now this part here and this part over here are going to fold up. So what we need to do is we need to, if we measured 5 and 5 1/2 there, we've got to go out on the edge out here and measure 5 1/2. And over here and measure 5 1/2. And then connect the dots. Okay. Now then, this part here is going to fold up in the front, so this line and this line have to be the same length. So we need to figure out that, and that turns out to be exactly 7 inches. How about that? So we'll go over here. And remember, this doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. So you don't have to worry when you go to make yours. Don't get all frustrated. Just have fun making it. It's okay to make mistakes. So that's about where it's going to be. It's not critical. All right, so now we got the basic, the flaps. They're going to come up and meet each other. But one thing that we want to make sure is, we'll put this back together, we want these to be tapered in a little bit. so that there's no need to have them straight up. If we taper them in, we get more shade on our tablet. So you notice that that's not, these aren't parallel. And I don't know if that's a critical angle or not, but this is how you go ahead, this is how you make that. What you want is you want this to be tapered in, and you want these to be tapered in. And I don't know what to go with. I'm going to use 3/8 of an inch, okay? We'll just make 3/8 of an inch. I think 3/8 would be good for this. Now, if you're doing a cell phone, it wouldn't be that much. Okay, we'll come in 3/8 of an inch. Now, this line is now obsolete. So what we're going to do is going to go from here up there. Okay, and from here like that. And then we also need to do 3/8 of an inch off of this. So go down here, put a mark there, and 3/8 of an inch there. And we bring these together. Now that's going to taper it in, which is going to give us more shade on our tablet. These are just, you know, these poster boards, they're only like 97 cents at Walmart. So if you really mess up, that's not anything to be concerned about. Now, what we need to do, I mean, 97 cents, buy a new one. We need to put these flaps on here, and I make them extra big just because I want all the shade I can get. And I don't know if these need to be there, but it gives it stability. So I just take my ruler and I lay it down along my line, and go like that. And then I like to have these tapered just a little bit, not much, just a little bit, so they don't catch on everything. Okay, so this is going to come up, that's going to come up, and they're going to meet each other. And so at this point, I'm ready to do some cutting, and I will fast forward that so you don't have to sit there and watch me cut, and then I'll be back and slow things down as soon as we get that done. So here we go. Okay, everything is cut like we need it. We'll save these pieces because they're going to be pads we're going to be cutting on top of. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make our folds. And once again, I'll fast forward with that. And I have a steel ruler. If you got a steel ruler or something like that, something that's not going to give when you go to make these bins. So it just makes it a lot easier if you got something that's sturdy. So we're going to start now, and I'll fast forward through this. Okay, we've got our folds made. So what's going to happen is this is going to come up like this, and there's our taper, and there's our other taper, and so we've got that done. Now we just have to cut some slots for this clamp to come underneath, and then to reach up and clamp the tablet. So we have to cut those holes, and I'll show you how to measure for that. Now, you know, you could do this for any drone that you have. This is for the Skycontroller 2 for the Bebop 2 FPV, but you could do this with any clamp that you have that belongs to you. Okay, so let's take a measurement here, and that needs to be, we need to leave a clearance of about 2.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to get something to cut on top of here, and we'll measure across here, and that is about 8 1/4. Half of 8 1/4 is 4 1/8. So we're going to go here. That should be halfway. Okay, so that's 4 1/4 or 4 1/8. And then this is 2 1/2. So we want to come out half of 2 1/2, which is 1 1/4 each direction. So that brings us out to here, and then 1 1/4 here. That would make to there. So that's 2 1/2, and that should fit just fine. Now the depth of the slot really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. We'll use about 3/8 of an inch. That's about a half. We'll go about, well, let's just do half. We'll do half. So there's that over there, and that over there. The thing I like to do, I like to have this a little low so that the clamp catches it too, and that keeps the light from coming in. So maybe we'll just go 3/8 of an inch, which I'll just eyeball this. Okay, and then we went square it off there and there. Then the next thing we need to do is with this tablet is the USB connector. Has to be over here on this end, and so we need to get this thing lined up the way it's going to be sitting in there, like so. Come over here. Come over. Well, she slipped now. There we go. All right, come over here and make a slot that's considerably wider, but not too wide, than the USB connector slot. So that would be about there. So we're going to just eyeball that, because it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now we'll take our X-Acto knife, and we're going to cut along the actual fold line. The line that I drew didn't come out, I didn't get that accurate, but that's all right. We're just going to cut along the fold line, because that's where it really is. That's where it really folds. So we've got all of our cutting taken care of, and it folds together nicely. Now all we need to do is put some Velcro strips on to put these so these come together. So we're going to fold this really good, really well, and we don't need that. We don't need that. Fold these really well, the way we want them to be when they come together. And you could go to Walmart and buy any kind of Velcro, the cheapest one you can. This is not an ad for Walmart, but that's where I usually get my stuff like this. We also have our Fry's not too far from our house, and they have a lot of stuff too, and so I like shopping there. So I'm not just advertising for Walmart. Okay, all right. So we need just two connectors, one on each side, as you'll see. So I just cut a little strip right here. Okay, and do one more. Okay, and then we have to have the matching pieces that are going to match those. And nothing about this has to be real accurate. So that one's a little narrow, but that's okay. I'll just cut another one. We'll fill that one away. Okay, so we can put that away, and we'll get rid of this. Okay, so I like to have the front one come around the outside, just because that's the way I am. So the front one is going to have some strips right there. So we'll peel that off and stick it down right there. Okay, now then, those are going to come together with these. And so we have to make a mark over here so we'll know where to put the Velcro mating piece. So we'll make a mark there and there. And we'll come over here and make a mark there and there. And what we want to do is we want to have the Velcro right about there. Just have to find our strips here. So we'll lay it in right there. And if you're off a little bit, it's okay. Now, to get all this stuff out of the way, we pull this up, pinch it together, we pull that up there, pull this up, pinch it together, and our sunshade is ready to go. We'll just take and let's just do it here. Put our tablet in there, pop this open, set the tablet about halfway. That should be about right. Get it squared away and push this together, and there we go. Now, I also have a video on how to make this snug into this and not flop around. So I'll put a link to that video also, because that's one of the things that I noticed right off the bat. The nice thing about a nice short sunshade is it's not going to wobble as much, because there's still a little bit of play in all of this. So anyway, that's how you make a sunshade yourself rather than buying one. And whatever size of tablet you have, use those measurements. Just follow the instructions and for your dimensions, and you should come up with a nice sunshade. So I want to thank you for watching, and God bless you.